On this episode of Exactly How podcast and YouTube show, we uncover the best ways to grow your network and analyze investment deals to make passive income.
You're listening to the Exactly How podcast, where you'll hear the underground, closely guarded wealth building secrets of successful people around the globe. Discover exactly how to improve your mental, physical, and financial health. Feel better, make more money, live, give, and prosper in today's exciting, fast-paced world filled with opportunity for those who know exactly how.
Welcome to the Exactly How podcast and YouTube show, brought to you by Connected Investors. During this episode, you can learn exactly how to turnkey investments for passive income. For those of you who are new, my name is Sean Young, today's proud host and member of the Connected Investor community. Before I introduce you to our incredible next guest speaker, I have a request that if at any point during the show you like what you hear, please give us a thumbs up or subscribe to the show so that you don't miss an episode. And make sure to take a look in the description of this episode, as we've packed it with thousands of dollars in free resources. Now, today we have the privilege to learn from a man who has made it to 3,500 units. Wow. Now, prior to his career in real estate, he was a civil engineer. I would like to describe our next guest as analytical. I'd like to introduce you to the one, the only, Lane Kawaoka. Lane, thanks for being a guest on today's show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Sean. Aloha, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, Lane. Now, guys, before we dive into exactly how to buy turnkey investments for passive income, Lane, you contribute a lot of your success to your 12-hour days and constantly connecting to other passive investors. Why do you think this has played such a big role in your success?
After you've got some money and you're investing, it all is your network, is your net worth, right? How do you else you're going to find other deal flow and other people, referrals, whether it's CPAs, attorney, but your network. So, initially I bought a bunch of rentals. And then I parlayed that into bigger investments. And I, again, realizing that it's the people around you that you're going to find all the secrets.
Absolutely. And guys, that's a theme that we've heard here on the show before. Your network is your net worth. So guys, keep that in mind as we continue through the show. Now, what makes the Exactly How Financial Freedom podcast and YouTube show unique is that every show comes with a detailed action plan. We pull the steps out of each show, create a blueprint on exactly how to implement what we're covering. All you have to do is visit theconnectedinvestors.com/free to get the key takeaways and the resources and the gifts that Lane has generously allowed us to give you guys today. Plus, you're going to get our free training right now. Text the word exactly to 910-600-0630 and see for yourself. This is how I make my money, guys. You can find properties in any town for pennies on the dollar. This is the software that I use each and every day. Now, as nearly 1 million people know, Connected Investors is a social network of real estate investors and a marketplace of investment properties. In the description of this video, I included a link to this episode's forum discussion. So Lane, let's dive into the steps that it takes to turnkey investments for a passive income. Now, before the show, we broke it down into 3 steps. Step number 1 was educate yourself. Can you give us a little bit more about what that means to educate yourself in this industry?
Yeah, so when people come to me, I tell them at least for the first 6 months, just take advantage of all the free stuff out there, right? Podcasts, books, just be a sponge and absorb all this material. Not a lot of it will be pertinent. I work with a lot of high-end investors, doctors, lawyers, engineers, a lot of more accredited investors. And there's a whole bunch of stuff out there about wholesaling, fix and flipping, tax liens that apply absolutely nothing to high-end, high net worth investors. But, initially I want everybody to just know what's out there, right? And that first 6 months is critical to kind of just getting a whole bunch of data points. But then at some point you have to kind of fine tune and narrow band what your strategy is based on what your situation is like.
Okay. Now, Lane, most of our listeners are either new, intermediate, or they could be advanced in their real estate investment career. Can you kind of give us a description of what a turnkey actually is?
Yeah, so for a lot of investors that I work with, the guys, working professionals, guys make over 50, 60 grand a year at their day job. They're busy, especially guys that live in primary markets that is defined, as cool places to live like Seattle, California, Hawaii, New York, Boston, where you're not going to have the rent to value ratios to be able to cash flow on investment. There are a lot of options out there where you can buy a turnkey property where a property has been fixed up. All the major components have been rehabbed, such as the plumbing, the flooring, the paint, the electrical, all fixed up, ready to go. And a lot of times they'll even put a tenant in there for you, and then you take it over with your property manager, and it's a turnkey investment for you. And sometimes, you can Google this. Turnkey rentals is another term. But, great way. I mean, that's how I got started, back in, almost a decade ago. I didn't have very much time on my hands because I was busy at my day job, but it was a great way to, put in $20,000, $30,000 on a down payment on $100,000 house and collect $1,000 a month rent.
Awesome. Thanks for that definition, guys. And excuse me, thanks for that definition for our listeners, Lane. Now, that takes us into step 2, which is growing your network to get yourself calibrated.
Yeah, so how are you going to find all these properties, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I know where they are. There are secondary markets with robust economies. Places like Birmingham, Atlanta, Kansas City, Memphis, Little Rock, Chattanooga, Oklahoma City, a lot of Texas markets. Go ahead and go look for it. You can go on Zillow, look up the rent to value ratios, take the monthly rent divided by the purchase price. Real estate broker properties on their own. And they're just, normally they work with a homeowner that's looking to live in the house. So, again, this is where your network comes in. I don't work with anybody unless I have somebody in my network that worked in the past and have kind of vetted them. So build your network. Unfortunately, a lot of times the local RIA is some of the worst places to go for this because they're just in their local, the local market fixing and flipping properties. So it's a little bit more difficult for remote investors to do this.
So would you suggest doing this in your local market first to get started?
Well, for a lot of us that live in, places like California, Hawaii, Seattle, it's not possible. You're not going to have the rent to value ratios to be able to invest. And you're going to have to go to some of those Midwestern, Southeast, Southern markets. And therefore, going to the local RIA, you're not going to find anybody doing that there. And it becomes more of an internet game. So connecting with people on the online forums is a place to start, right? But, that was where I kind of up-leveled my game 5 years in, where I started to join different masterminds, getting around higher level investors and kind of growing my network that way. But you got to start somewhere.
Absolutely. And guys, the Connected Investors Network is an awesome place to kind of start from that as well, because we've got investors from literally all over the world doing deals. And, it's a great way to network, just as Lane has spoken. So Lane, now that you've grown your network and you've gotten yourself calibrated, how do you analyze these deals?
Yes. So figuring out, when I do due diligence on the syndication deal or an operator, 50% is the person. Like I said before, it's all your network. I don't work with anybody I don't know, like, or trust. But the other half of it is the numbers, as you're saying. And the nice thing with numbers is numbers don't lie. People do. So if you can backwards engineer the assumptions, you can kind of see what type of operator it is and how fat a deal is. So what I would recommend is, I have an analyzer on my website. I think you can just download it for free at simplepassivecashflow.com/analyzer. And it's a spreadsheet. You can play around with the numbers, and I have all the, for all the expenses like repairs, maintenance, vacancy, property management fees, insurance, taxes. I have all these footnotes on there to kind of give you the ranges of what it should be. And my recommendation to a lot of my students is just go through and just start building a spreadsheet, a nice little scatter chart, using the analyzer as a tool to kind of, just figure out where the water line is on the particular market you're looking at, right? So what's kind of the normal trading band and what's an outlier, what's a sucker deal or what's a great deal that you should probably put an offer in.
Got it. Got it. Well, that is awesome. That is awesome. Where do you do the majority of your deals currently?
Mostly in the South and Southeast.
Okay.
You know, that's where we cash flow, right? Day one. That's a big criteria for me personally. Not saying that, you know, investing in primary markets like Hawaii or California, I mean, I think they do appreciate, but I'm just not that type of investor. I'm more of a cash flow investor, right?
Understood.
So when COVID-19 happens, you know, I want my tenants to pay rent, and that's why I pick more red states than blue states. And also, like when I'm looking at properties, I want something that's going to be more of a workforce type housing. So something where normal people live in, as opposed to more luxury type of properties.
Makes sense. Like a blue collar type of neighborhood, somewhat.
Right, because that's where the majority of America is. You know, America's sort of a bell curve where the majority of people are making $50,000-$60,000 a year or less.
Indeed. Indeed. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Lane, I really appreciate you breaking that down for us. Now, as a reminder, if at any point in the show you like what you're hearing, please give us a thumbs up or subscribe to the show so that you don't miss an episode. Your engagement is what drives us and keeps us doing this for the community for free. Now, Lane, you know, what do you think your life would be like if you never landed that first rental home and you were still working as an engineer or picking pineapples?
I would probably be still stuck in some cubicle somewhere, waiting for my 8 to 10 hours to be over. And I wouldn't be able to wear basketball shorts in the middle of the day and take a nap whenever I want these days, right? Simple passive cash flow allows you to work with, it gives you the financial freedom to work who you want, when you want, and wherever you want. You know, enough said.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're right there. And there's nothing like having that freedom to, like you say, wear shorts in the middle of the day if you want to. I mean, you can't really put a price tag on some of these things. Okay, Lane, we've come to the part of our show that's called the rapid fire session. This is where I ask you a question and you just basically give us the first answer that comes to mind. Are you ready for it?
Here we go.
Let's do it. All right. On a scale from 1 to 10, how strict were your parents?
They were probably a 9. If any Asians are listening, you know, I don't know, I mean, they hit the kids, right? I mean, that's just what they do.
Gotcha. Get up early or stay up late?
I'm more of a stay up late type of person, but I do realize these days that you get tired in the afternoon. So I try and wake up at a decent hour, get stuff done. You know, a lot of investor emails, you know, I'm a customer service is kind of first. So got to get on that in the morning.
Absolutely. So how many hours of sleep would you say you get per night?
Probably 7. Yeah, sleep's important, but you got to get stuff done.
Indeed. What's your favorite or the last book that you've read?
I read The World is Effed by Mark Manson recently. I thought it was a great book to read during the pandemic when, you know, the media is kind of fear-mongering a lot, and it's good to keep things in perspective.
Absolutely.
Based on what despite what the title says, it's the book on hope.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that book out. Lane, if you could be any superhero, who would it be?
I probably want to be Batman because he's rich.
Bruce Wayne, absolutely. Cool guy. So something everyone should do less of.
I think everybody should go buy some passive rentals. I mean, it takes a while to build up a portfolio. I mean, it took me 7 years to get up to 11 rentals on my own, but you know, that allows you to not go to that day job. And now that I'm outside of the day job, I don't wake up at a certain time to brush my teeth, to put on my clothes, to go to a car, and all that time commuting. I realize how much time people waste building somebody else's dream or just another cog in some other system. And at the end of the day, they only have maybe a couple hours after they come home, take a little break to build anything that is going to build a legacy for themselves. And
so true.
It's hard to do that without passive cash flow coming in.
So very true, Lane. So very true. Something that everyone should do more of.
I think uh, like the kind of investing I do, I don't do any type of wholesaling or flipping or anything like that. I just saved up my money to buy a rental property initially. And at the end of the day, that's the secret. You have to just save up money. A lot of my investors are able to put away $30,000 to $50,000 from their day job a year, and that's enough to buy a rental property a year. Granted, they're not doing that; they're going more into syndications and private placements. But from a high level, you're saving up as much money as you can, so you can buy more assets that produce more money, so you can buy even more assets, and this cycle keeps continuing and continuing until you've kind of created a monster on your hand, but a good monster that just keeps putting more and more money into your pocket.
Absolutely. Bitcoin, bang or bust?
To me, it doesn't produce cash flow. I mean, my three rules of investing is that it has to produce income, which rental properties do. It has to be leverageable. I guess you can buy Bitcoin on the futures, but not really. But it also has to be a hard asset, something that's real. I mean, technically Bitcoin's a currency, but I don't know. I mean, I also don't like Bitcoin because a lot of kids do it. And I like real estate because you need like 30 grand to go buy a house. Not a lot of people have that kind of money. And, today we buy apartments and you need $100, that single family home. The barrier to entry is a lot higher. So it's as much as a competition thing. I like to do things where it's not competitive. And to me, when kids are able to download some app and trade $5, $10, I want nothing to do with that. I want nothing that some random kid that lives in their mom's basement can do.
Got it. Got it. Will people live on Mars in your lifetime?
Probably.
Okay. Okay. Now, Lane, can you tell us a little bit about one of your latest turnkey deals and how you found that deal, how you're able to pass it off to your buyer? Just give us an idea of what it really looks like to walk through a deal.
Yeah, so we have a incubator group under our platform. People can go to simplepassivecashflow.com/incubator, but we kind of help people walk through their first transaction of a turnkey property. This recent one, we helped a guy, he bought a rental property from another investor that he just couldn't get going. We connected him with a property management company that we've worked with in the past, and kicking off cash flow. For our higher end clients, we put together syndications and apartment deals for them. But it's a little bit more hands off, that type of investing. But at the end of the day, we're just buying properties that have workforce housing type of clients inside of them. It's very simple.
Okay, guys. I mean, if you've been listening to what Lane's talking about here on this show, you should have definitely heard something that's called passive income. Lane is talking about what he can do to develop passive income on top of earning income as well. Like he said, he has three things that are key to him, and those are two of the first ones that I heard him mention. So guys, on top of doing wholesaling, on top of maybe doing some flipping, this might be a route that you want to choose as well, getting into turnkey properties for passive income.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is in real estate investing, right? Wholesaling, flipping, that's a job, right? And I get it. If you don't have money, you can't real estate invest. You need money to invest. And you might have to do income generating activities like go to a day job or wholesale some houses. For most of my clients, it's just better off they spend their highest and best use is at their day job. And that's an important, key. It's like, what's your highest and best use? Is it at your engineering job? Is it doing surgeries at the hospital? Or is it driving for dollars? You have to figure that out. But, you have to trade time for money for now to get enough income and save enough capital to buy investments that hopefully pay you in the future.
That makes a lot of sense. So we're basically working our way up to that opportunity to be able to do turnkey. So guys, if you guys are out there and you're new to investing and you're just getting started, like Lane is saying, get a few deals done because that's going to be your capital to help you do this passive income opportunity in the future. Well,
right.
Lane,
and to buy a $100,000 house, you just need about 30 grand down. So it's, be active until you have $30,000. A lot of you guys might have it already. Go buy a rental property.
Absolutely, absolutely. Get it done, guys. I mean, there's only one way to get it done, and that's just to fail your way forward somewhat. You want to take calculated steps, but you want to just get out there and start actively getting involved in this. If this is what you want to change your business for, if this is the direction that you want to take your business, like you said, get educated, guys. Now, Lane, I really have enjoyed speaking with you today. You have given out a wealth of information, and guys, I hope you were listening because I've really, picked up everything that you've laid down. And if you guys missed any piece of it, of course, you'll be able to go back and replay this, and make sure to share it with anyone who you think will get value out of this as well. But guys, we have made it to the end of the show, and you know what? Most people never finish what they start, so you're special. Now, if you got any value out of today's show, please share it with a friend or on your Facebook page. Like the video, subscribe to our channel, and send us topics you want to learn more about. Like I said earlier, nearly 1 million people use the Connected Investor social network and marketplace to connect. In the description of this episode, I've included a link to this episode's discussion forum. Tap that link. Ask me and other pros questions. Like I said earlier, nearly 1 million people use the Connected Investor social network and marketplace to connect. In the description of this episode includes a link to this episode's forum discussion. Tap that link, ask me and other pros questions, and see what investors are saying about this episode. So until the next episode, catch me on the inside, guys. See you next time.
The Connected Investors app connects you with investors, notifies you of available properties, helps locate cash buyers, and secure private funding to close deals. Set up in seconds to become a member of the Connected Investors social network. Now you can scroll through your main feed to find cash buyers, see investment properties not available to the general public, and network with investors by adding your own comments to a thread to keep the conversation going. The Control Center is your connection to add properties to sell, start new discussions, connect with local investors, and even find private funding. The Notifications tab will keep you alerted to new investment properties and offers. You'll also find new friend requests to connect directly with the community to build your network. From the property marketplace, you'll be able to find, favorite, and make offers on investment properties. Download Connected Investors today to find, figure, fund, and flip investment properties on the go.